If there's two things that people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion space love to discuss, I would argue that card prices and power creep would vie for the top spot. While the first issue is something that I'm not equipped or particularly eager to tackle, the second is more interesting. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has experienced a massive growth in power creep since the TCG freed itself from the shackles of a main series anime. And while I personally think that's not a great thing, it does come with some interesting side effects. They say that a rising tide lifts all boats, and if the ceiling of the game is creeping along, so too has the basement. In the past, bulk commons would burn your opponent for 50 for every reptile in their hand, or let you discard 3 to draw 2. Nowadays, even the worst card in your local's prize support would break the game open a decade ago. Let's get into it. Up first, we have a card that harkens back to the glory days of GX for all my aging millennials out there. Drawbread is a normal card that has yet to be released in the TCG at the time of recording this video. The card allows you to, if you have a monster in your graveyard, pay 200 life points and draw a card. Reveal it, and then if it was a monster, you get a second effect based on the attribute of the revealed monster. If the monster has a different attribute than any that you have in your grave, you get to draw another card. If the monster shares an attribute with those in your grave, you discard a card. The card art is based on the Golden Egg Witch, a Willy Wonka-esque gotcha sandwich that featured in episode 17 of the GX anime. Out of a massive box of sandwiches, only one Golden Egg Witch dwells within the box, and the student with the most talent for good draws walks away with the Egg Witch. Like in the anime, this card has a number of benefits for duelists, no matter why they're using it. If you're playing a deck that plays multiple attributes like Ryuge or Altergeist, the card fluctuates between Upstart Goblin and Pot of Greed. In a deck that plays a single attribute like Yummy or Snake Eye, this is Upstart Goblin with a discard cost, which in the modern game is not quite the downside that it might seem. This is essentially 2 positive effects that shapes its functionality depending on what deck you play it in. Now you too can be like Damon and shout to the sky about the quality of your draws. Hunting Horn is a quick play spell set to release in Doom of Dimensions this month, and is the linchpin of a new mini hunting archetype included in that set. This spell allows you to fusion summon one Earth Warrior fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. Then, if you activated this card during the battle phase, you can choose monsters your opponent controls up to the number of materials used from the hand for the fusion summon, and have their attacks until the end of the battle phase. You're only allowed to declare attacks with Earth Warriors the turn that you activate this effect. The Hunting archetype contains 2 interesting fusion monsters that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce, that can assist you in swarming the field during the battle phase even further, creating a situation where you can swing with a bunch of monsters, fuse into the big guys, and then tag out for more. Aside from the Hunting fusion monsters, this card also finds a cozy home in Amazonas, one of my favorite pet decks that could always benefit from more options. And War Rock, the tier 0 meta threat that is, unfortunately, way more fun to play than it is good. Hopefully, this is the start of more things to come, and we can expect more from this fun, battle phase-oriented mini archetype going forward. Here on the Faker YGO channel, we represent the battle phase. Sphinx of the Circle is another card coming out in Doom of Dimensions, and is a dope-looking level 8 Earth Rock monster with 2500 attack and 3000 defense, and the effect. Once per turn, if a monster's battle position is changed, you can target one card on the field and return it to hand. As a hard once per turn, if a monster's battle position is changed, you can banish one spell from your grave to special summon this card from your hand or grave. Finally, once per turn, you can set one Book of Moon or Book of Taiyu from your deck or grave to the field. I used to think that we would eventually run out of old school legacy cards to print support for. I mean, how many more King of the Feral Imps or Millennium archetypes does Konami realistically have up their sleeve? Well, between the Dark-Hole Dragon, Manticore of Smashing, the entire Typhoon archetype, and now we're even getting book support, I've resigned to the fact that this is just going to go on forever, and hopefully we can learn to love our chains. I think that the cycle the card is referring to is that of the sun and moon over the course of the day, as cards like Taiyu, Moon, and Eclipse all feature the heavenly bodies. I think that this card could have some value in a flip-focused strategy like Ham Spam, giving you access to cards that can reset the position of your monsters. This is the Tindangle support that we've all been waiting for, boys. While I don't think this is as strong as some of the other legacy spell trap support, and it regrettably doesn't search Eclipse, it's a welcome addition to the stable. The last card I'd like to look at today is Miasma Necromancer, a Link 2 Dark spellcaster with 1800 attack and 2 nasty sideways pointing arrows. It requires requires 2 monsters, including a Dark Spellcaster monster as material, and has the effect: if this card is link summoned, you can add 1 level 5 or higher Dark Spellcaster monster from your grave to your hand, but it locks you out of using that card's effects for the remainder of the turn. Additionally, you can send 1 spell or trap from your hand or field to the grave in order to immediately normal summon 1 Spellcaster monster. All of these effects are hard once per turns. If you're like me, hearing Tribute Summonable Dark Spellcaster monster makes your brain swim with dark magicians. But Miasma doesn't allow you to bypass the tribute summon requirement of high-level monsters, meaning that you would still need the material, and at that point, it's hardly worth it. Interesting targets that you can add back include Mseti, Diabellstar, Dimension Shifter, and of course, Altergeist Conqueror, the best hand trap in Justice Hunter's format. I feel like saying there's Diabellstar synergy here is cope in a world where OSS is banned, but I'd be lying if I didn't say something about the visual aesthetic of the cards didn't bring me back to old school Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that's the guy from Dark Illusion, right? 3 things are for certain. Konami's going to keep jacking up the power ceiling of new set releases, and I'm going to keep coping on them and finding ways to jam Fiendsmith and Unexpected Die in there before queuing on Casual Ladder. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and remember to wash behind your ears.